Hello. So we are now in the third phase of the implementation of the service. And what I want to discuss with you and show you how we have addressed this problem is an issue that what happens now is that we are creating an execution course, and if the course doesn't exist, we just create it as well. But the problem is that we are creating an external course given a name. But in the future, it may happen that at technical, someone decides that there will be a new course that has the same name. And then we'll have a collision, and we'll not be able to use the technical courses here. So there are several ways to solve this problem. And the way we addressed it was basically to say that instead of being the name, a unique identifier of a course is going to be the name and the type of the course. Okay? And this will have impact. So, and what I'm going to show you is the changes that I have done resulting of this decision. Okay? And this also occurs for the execution course, because currently an execution course, the identification of an execution course is by using the academic term and the acronym. And now you're going to be acronym, academic term, and the type of the course. Okay? So let's show you a little bit what we can do and what is necessary to change. Actually, I changed a lot of code. Usually it happens because you need to change small things because you are changing parameters and things like that, and you are changing constructors. Well, these type of changes are not that complex. It's just you have to do them and do them, and usually they are completely guided by the compiler. So the compiler gives you the errors and you just go and fix that, and by the tests. Okay, but I'm going to focus on the semantics, what needs to be changed in the semantics. So what is actually hard, or not that hard, but what you need to, what is related with the code that you are actually writing now. Okay? So let's go. So the first thing I've done basically is I changed this query in the course repository, and I added the type here. So previously so I had a method called find by name, and now it's find by name type. And previously, by receiving the name, I just returned the course. Now I need to, of course, because it's unique now, I need to give the name and the type. Okay? And actually, I've done precisely the same thing in the course repository, where we changed this query and added this part here. Okay? So that the type. So now I receive an acronym, academic term, and the type of the execution course in order to search for it. Okay. Other thing that I've done, it was in the course execution here, and in the course execution in this query, if you notice in this query, I just again. So when you try to see if there exists another course execution, now I need to check the type as well, so that I get not duplicate course execution. Okay? Then I had to change in the service itself as well. And the first thing you should look at is this part here. And in this part, what I'm actually doing is just reading in the DTO in the input, reading in DTO whether I'm saying that the course should be external or technical. And depending on the type of course I'm talking about, I'll do different queries. So I will go to I use the find by name, and we'll send the correct parameter here. Okay. And in the second part, now, if there's no course in the database, I have two different decisions. Okay, if the course is null, so it returns null there, I have two decisions. If it is external, I'm going to create it, as I've done before. And if it is technical, then I will just send an exception, say saying course not found. Now, because actually now we receive a new perimeter when we are asking about what is the type of the course. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I need to check as well if this is not null. Okay, so I need to check this input parameter to say, well, you say create an ad hoc course execution, but they should tell me whether it is an external or technique course execution. So if it is null, I just throw an exception. Finally, I'm going to show you the impact that this has, that is had in the tests. Okay. So two types of impact. The first thing I need to, of course, for the DTO, I need to add whether the course is going to be technical or external. Okay. But actually, I had to add a new test. Okay. For the case where I try to say that is a technical course and actually the course does not exist, which in this case I throw the exception. So it's related with we have seen in the service where I throw this exception. And the other situation I had to change is the verification of if the course type is empty. So I added this test to know if the course type is empty, and in that case I throw an exception. Okay, I think it was this that I have done. So now probably a very short discussion about some tactics about how to write your code and how to make some decisions. So what you may be asking yourself is, well, why I'm just addressing this issue about whether the name is unique now and not before, when I just draw the tests and I basically specify my problem. Okay. Actually, I could have done it. Okay, I could have thought about that case. But this also illustrates that if you write the code in some way, if you have tests, and if you are not afraid about refactoring and changing the code, you can actually realizing what you need by writing the code. Okay? So sometimes, and that's a decision, of course you should write in specification everything you can realize about what is going to be the behavior of your method or of your system. But sometimes it's very difficult to realize everything. And in software, is by doing that you learn a lot. So by doing you learn, and it's difficult to think about everything. Okay, it's one. There's an expression that usually is called analysis paralysis, that people just try to understand everything without writing a line of code, and actually they just enter in some kind of thought trap. They keep thinking, oh, what happens if this code can occur? What happens if something else can occur? And that can be something that you just keep modeling and modeling and modeling. And when you start programming and implementing the models, you just realize that, okay, I forgot about something. Okay? So what happens is that today in software engineering, you are learning and you are using a lot of code techniques that really helps you to change the code. And this is a big revolution in the way you develop software. So I'm making the change of the code easier and less error prone. Actually, you are changing the way you develop software. But I'm not saying that you cannot specify and you should not spend time specifying the problems up front. What I'm saying is that if you do it, you should do it with the correct tools that provide you real feedback. That is not just some kind of thought chain that you keep thinking about things, but you cannot verify whether what you are thinking about, what is going to be the behavior of your program, is correct or not. Okay? And yes, there are tools that starts to helping you doing that, but probably today they are not so efficient as, for instance, writing tests. But things keep changing, and maybe in 5 or 10 years, you will have more powerful tools that help you to do a much more upfront thinking about the behavior of your systems without writing code. Okay, things keep changing, and there are new ideas. But what is always important here is that when you do software engineering, you should use tools that provide you feedback. Don't keep thinking about how things gonna. Don't keep guessing about what should be the behavior and what should be the situations. You should use tools that actually gives you feedback about whether what you are guessing are right or not. Okay, and one word for that usually is prototyping. Okay, prototyping is a very nice tool to keep your feet on the ground. Okay, so I think that's all for this implementation part, and so good work.